when I say I have not been pleased or satisfied with a movie, like leaving out of the movie theater, completely satisfied in a long time, it's been a long time. This movie is amazing. Sinners is good from beginning to end. The entire middle is great. The very beginning is great. Like, man, like all around good movie. The cast, the story, the shooting, the different scenes, man. It's like you're seeing the story in different ways. One thing I will say is the timing that they chose to come out with the movie could have been different. Personally, not the weekend that the big man comes back. However, moving forward, they could have that probably their numbers probably would have been better the first weekend had they may have waited a weekend. But I get other movies coming out. Not everybody has control over when their movie comes out and stuff like that. Probably a studio thing. However, Sinners is amazing. I don't know what else to say, man. I mean, shoot, if you haven't seen it yet and you're gonna be your first time going to see it, go see it in IMAX. I've seen Sinners twice, and I saw it once in the regular version. Then I went and saw it again in IMAX. And that's the only kind of gripe that I had with the movie. And if you're going to see it, like, it's regular screening or something, the movie may look a little dark. Like certain scenes it just feels like they're obnoxiously dark. Like the scene didn't have to be that dark where you can't see people's faces or you can't really see the background and things like that. But seeing it in IMAX, again, I didn't really notice that the movie was dark or anything. I was really engaged and I could see it now. It could be maybe, I know how it's supposed to look now, but I really didn't notice how, like when you're watching it in the regular screening, you can see how dark it is. But that's really the only gripe that I have with the movie. It's great. If you didn't know, I didn't know like until like a day before that the movie it's a 24-hour movie. So everything that you're seeing in the film happens within 24 hours. So when I say this is a long 24 hours, it is long. That's a lot of things to happen in that little bit of time. But rating wise, 5 out of 5, man. 5 out of 5. The only problem I had with it because the movie was dark. Everything else, I can't really find anything to me wrong with this movie. So I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. I felt great throughout the whole thing. Leaving, I wanted more. I'll be honest. I wanted a Sinners 2 as soon as I walked out of the theater. And if you haven't seen it yet, there is an end credit scene. So stay. If them lights didn't come on yet, stay. Stay in there. It's a little end credit scene, and you're gonna be, kind of upset that you missed that if you leave. So stay behind and watch the movie. Like I said, Sinners gets a 5 out of 5 from me. If you haven't seen it, go grab your ticket because we're getting into the spoiler section. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Alrighty, man. Sinners, Michael B. Jordan. He plays twins. They felt like two different characters. I'm telling you, when you see, because they Smoke and Stack, that's his name. That's their names. They literally feel like two different people when you're watching them, when you're hearing them. Like after seeing it, I mean, I noticed it the first time, but even watching it the second time, I seen how different the accent was. To me, I think Smoke, his accent sounds like his voice sounds a little deeper, and they could have did some tweaking. But in general, Michael B. Jordan, it seems like he's really made them sound different. Smoke sounds a little deeper and Stack sounds a little higher, and his kind of fluctuates a little bit. Um, the story building of the movie, man, it's crazy. I would say I'm gonna jump over the place a little bit. So Smoke Stack, they getting a club together down in, I think they said they from, where is it? The Delta. That's what I'm gonna say, because I know that's what they said. They said they got a little club in the Delta and everything. They came down from Chicago. They did some things up there, brought their stuff down here, and they opening up a juke joint. So they go get their little cousin who play the guitar and whatnot. And in the beginning of the movie, they say that there's like some special type of people who can, when they playing music, they can like pierce the veil of, like kind of like a spiritual type thing where they can reach to the past and reach to the future. But it also can either heal or hurt people, around in their communities. Which music can help or hurt. So I really like, throughout the movie, the music is like an underlying thing. And with this one scene that they have in there where they got Sam, that's the one of the main characters' name, who plays the guitar. Sam, he's playing, and you can see the past and the future of the different cultures, because there were some Asian people who were at the juke joint too. But they showed you the b-boys, the DJs, the electric guitar. They had even, one guy doing he was like, I think he was like doing different karate stances, kung fu or something like that. They even had I'm not gonna say a geisha, but that's like the closest thing that I can really think of. It might not be that, but they had that in there. They had different African tribes playing. That scene is like powerful, man. Just showing you all the different ways that we as a people got that creativity, man. So that scene was great, but during that scene, while Sam's playing, the vampire who you see a little earlier, who was getting chased by Indians. There were Indian vampire hunters. I want that next. I want an Indian vampire hunter movie. Ryan Coogler, make it happen. Cause boy, I will go see that. Shoot, even if it's only an hour, you put out a little short or something of them Indians tracking down vampires and hunting them and stuff. I'm going to see that too, and I'll pay full price. But that's like that little snippet, man. I was like, yo, like it could be like a lot going on here. However, so the vampire ends up sensing him, since vampire is kind of like it's a supernatural thing, and him playing his guitar and piercing that veil is kind of a supernatural thing too. So the vampire senses him. They go to the club, and the vampire ended up turning other people into vampires. Then he heard Sam playing, so he goes to the club, and now he wants Sam. He wants Sam because Sam can help him, the vampire, talk to his people who he's been missing, because he's old. This vampire that's coming after him is an old one. He was paying. He had like 2 gold tokens or something that he was gonna get them to pay and stuff with. And, they like, man, you can't spend that around here. That ain't real money. But to him, during his time, that was real money. And for him to be like Irish and stuff like that, like he had a whole musical number, man, was like river dancing and stuff. I was like, yo, that seemed cool too. So they end up coming to the club and the juke joint. Then, everybody figures out that they're vampires. But before they figure it out, the girl who Stack is with, she ends up going outside trying to, because with vampires, they invite them in. Nobody invited them in, and Smoke said, don't let them in here. So Stack and Mary, That's the girl's name. Stack and Mary are talking to each other, and she ends up going out there trying to talk to him. Mary, she's more of a, whiter skinned, so she feels like she can talk to them and see what they really want, who they really are, and everything more than Stack can. Yeah, she go out there and end up talking to them. Don't end well. She get bit. So the guy standing at the door, Cornbread. I got beef with Cornbread. Big beef with him. Okay, big dude, big beef. So, pause. But, so Cornbread ends up letting her in because he sees her as Mary, not the vampire that she is. She ends up getting in there. Nobody knows. She, gets Stack into the room, ends up turning him. But now, Cornbread done left the darn, because Cornbread is supposed to be the security guard. He done left his post and went all the way out into the woods to go use the bathroom. Now this another grip I got with you, Ryan. Okay, Mr. Coogler, you could have had Cornbread go right around the corner to the side of the building, and then he could have heard like little noises and stuff like that and still got hemmed up. He did not have to walk that far. We not walking that far. It's a little gripe I got. That's one big thing I got wrong with that movie. But it's not enough to take away any points or anything like that. So Mary ends up turning Stack into a vampire. And Stack, he ends up trying to get out. He breaks out. And then Cornbread end up coming up, saying, hey, y'all let me in so I can come help and everything and stuff. And then the woman, I forget her name. Man, I forget her name in the movie, but she knows a lot about stuff, like all the supernatural stuff and everything. And she ends up telling them, her name's Annie. That's what it is. Annie and Smoke are together, and Stack and Mary are together. But she ends up telling him, hey, don't let him in here. You should be able to walk in. You all big and bad. You should be able to walk in here. So then she ends up finding out that she thought they were hates at first. Apparently hates are when a person's soul leaves and then something else comes inside them and they're not that person anymore. But she figured out that they were vampires, and their soul gets trapped in their body and they're forced to, live here forever. So she ends up telling them that, and they go on and on and on about, him trying to come in or blah, blah, blah. So they figure out that he's a vampire. He tried to bite Smoke, but Smoke ended up pulling back fast enough. But then they thought somebody else was dead. Now, this is a funny part. They thought somebody in the club was dead because it looked like it was blood up under him. So they pull him outside, throw him out. They go around each other. Everybody eats a piece of garlic so they can figure out if there's a vampire in there with them. Nobody's a vampire. And then Annie was like, did you know if that was blood or not? They go back. It's like some red wine or something like that. So they going, the dude banging the door, trying to get back in. Cornbread, vampire self, running up to him. As soon as they open the door, Cornbread eating them. And they had like a lot of good parts in this movie, man. Like, I don't know. I don't want to tell y'all everything, but it's really, really good. Like, even in the beginning, like the world building part, like everybody knows the twins. Like, twins supposed to be some real bad dudes. So, before they get to the club and everything like that, is one scene where Smoke goes into town and he told the girl, hey, watch his truck. And two guys try to rob him. He shot one dude in the tail. He figured out he know them. But then the other guy standing in the back with his hands up, he ended up getting shot like around his knee area. So he hobbling along, but nobody's doing nothing to him. So like, bro, everybody knows twins. Twins is like that. This movie, I'm telling y'all, like for this year of 2025, Sinners is the best movie. Sinners for me, what I've seen this year, Sinners is the best movie in 2025. Like they had a lot of deep underlying things with the world itself. How Mary felt like she could go out there and talk to them just because you look like them, but you don't really know who they are, and then which in turn made everybody on the inside get killed too, because everybody had left. When Smoke saw that his brother was dead, and Mary was on top biting him and stuff, he shoots her, and the whole crowd stop outside, and then she run out and stuff. And that was another thing. Oh wait, yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna get back to that. The whole crowd stops, and everybody ends up leaving because show's over. The man brother's dead. Nobody trying to hurt nothing else. Everybody leave, but then everybody ends up getting caught by the three vampires that were outside. And that song they were singing, you gonna see, pick poor Robin clean. I pick poor. Yeah, they got a nice jingle. They had a little nice jingle going on. You're gonna see it when you see the movie. But the vampires, at first, I was like, man, these ain't regular vampires, man. These kind of different. But I would say the main difference, well, two main differences are, like, usually sometimes in vampire stuff, if whoever turns you, if they die, then you die. But in this one is whoever turned you, like the vampires become like some type of hive mind. So whoever turned you, if they get hurt, like they hurt the main vampire at one point, and everybody else just gets hurt, and they end up killing the main vampire, but everybody else doesn't die. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else don't die. And I mean, hey, we in the spoiler section. It was at one point so it was a Chinese lady. Oh no, let's finish vampires. But like, soon as they turn into a vampire, it's like they're automatically trying to kill you. And it's like it's no buffer time or anything. Like, as soon as they change, they're ready to kill somebody else. And that's kind of different. Like, I get, newborn and stuff like that, but it's never really like that fast. Like, immediately they're ready to kill you. So that part was a little okay. But so the vampires are trying to get in to we back to telling the story. Vampires trying to get in to the juke joint to get Sam, because the main vampire wants Sam so he can talk to his other people. He misses them, so he wants to talk to the people that have left him in this world and stuff like that. And Sam can do that because he's one of those people who can pierce that veil. So, like I said, the vampires can't come in until you invite them in. There was the Asian lady, I think Miss Chow. That was their last name. Not being crazy, not being funny. Their last name was Chow. So Miss Chow talking about some, her husband ends up getting turned into a vampire, and the main vampire was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go get your daughter and stuff like that." So she feeling some type of way. That's her daughter. She don't want her daughter to die or anything. But y'all could let her go by herself. She could have went out that door and got ate up, turned into a vampire just like everybody else. Because that was going to happen to her. The vampires end up getting into the juke joint because she yells, "Come on in, you MFers," or "Come get it," or something like that. Like, bro, you just killed everybody in here. You could have killed yourself. Y'all should have let her go herself. Dang. Irritated me, bro. But, I mean, it wouldn't be a movie if that didn't happen. So, I guess. But that irritated me. Then they end up coming in there, and she ended up dying first. I'm like, huh? I don't get it, bro. But, all in all, Sinners is an amazing movie. I went and saw it twice. IMAX. I saw a video about him, and not about him, but about Ryan Coogler talking about the difference between the regular one and IMAX, and there is a difference. So if you have the availability to see this movie in IMAX, please go see it in IMAX, man. It is. I want to. You know what? It's day and night. It's day and night, man. But all in all, I give Sinners 5 out of 5. If you've seen it once, go see it again. Let's run it up. Let's make this movie the highest grossing movie of 2025. It's an amazing job that this cast, the set designers, the people who made the clothes for the different characters, everybody, the stunt men, all of that. The people who, you don't really hear about, bro. Props to all of you, because y'all have done an amazing job. Y'all, man, yo. So, like I said before, if you haven't seen it, go see it. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. And I try not to say everything, even in the spoiler section, just so y'all can, have something to go forward to. But this movie is definitely worth it. Let me know what y'all thought about it. Did you see it? What is your rating? Did you see it in regular? Did you see it in IMAX? Did you see it in both of them? Let me know down in the comments below, and I will be back in the next one. Peace. And you know what else was crazy about the movie? That Stack and Smoke Stack, when they bought the clubhouse, the little juke joint, the sawmill that they were going to turn into their juke, the guy that sold it to him was actually, so in the beginning, he's just some white guy who owns it, and he talking about some, oh yeah, the Klan don't exist anymore and stuff like that. Come to find out, where the vampire had went at first to go get those other two people, that was the guy who sold them the place, Smoking Stack, sold them this place, was the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan. And the guy that the vampire killed was his nephew. And at the end, like close to the end of the movie, the Ku Klux Klan comes up, and they were going to, kill everybody at the end of the night or whatever. But all the stuff, they didn't know that all the stuff had happened with the vampires and everything like that. And shoot, the vampire was going to go take a visit to them and get them right. But at the end of the movie, Smoke, they were all Smoking Stack where they were in the military. So Smoke, he got his little gun out there in the darn woods, a little ways out, while they pull up, and he picking them all off, boom, 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 boom. He end up killing them all, and then what happens to him. He ends up dying, and going over, and he sees his woman with his child that had passed away. But hey, that was crazy too. I couldn't believe that y'all actually was gonna do that to them people. But man, hey, me back in. But yeah, so I'll see y'all in the next one for real this time. Peace. One last thing. The end credit scene is probably the best end credit scene I've seen in a long time from any movie. It picks back up years later, like years and years later, after Sam has gotten older. You see him, he's playing at this little nightclub, and the security guard comes, tells him, hey, some people want to talk to you. They gave me $100, to come in and speak. He was like, all right, you can let them in. And then security guard goes to the door, and he's like, all right, y'all can come in now, which sends like a signal to Sam, like, oh shoot, you got to invite them in. So in walks Stack and Mary. It's like some 90s clothes, because the year is now 1992. It was, everything happened in 32, but this is 1992. So in walks Stack and Mary. You know, they talking and everything like that. And at this point, you thought they was dead, but they're not. So they talking to Sam, and Stack is telling him, hey, I can make it so that you can live longer, you can tour longer, and everything like that. And Sam was kind of confused because he's like, how are you alive? But Smoke, when Smoke and Stack were fighting each other, he ended up telling him, just leave Sam alone, let him live his life and everything. So he did. So he's coming, and then Stack ends up smelling him, saying, oh, you ain't got long left, and blah, blah, blah. And Sam's like, I done seen enough of this life. He basically ready to go. And then, Stack talking about something. Yeah, we got all your records and everything, but I don't really like that electric guitar stuff. Let me hear the reel. You still got a reel in you, Sam. He starts playing the song, Traveling, that he had played for him when they were in the car with each other earlier in the movie. But yeah, that was a 10 out of 10 in credit scene. I'm really going this time. We'll see y'all in the next one.